So originally I assigned you the first two episodes, but
I thought it was three, but
you went ahead and watched. I think you're in like season two now.
I'm in season two now. Yes, my
But
wife
we're
and I
gonna
are in season two of Breaking Bad, and we still have not finished Stranger Things. We're like dangling halfway through one of the episodes.
we don't have to talk about Stranger Things today.
But those clicks, those hashtags.
But yeah, anyway, so Breaking Bad premiered in 2008, and it was created by Vince Gilligan and stars Bryan Cranston as Walter White.
Everything that he does could still be Hal from Malcolm in the Middle.
I
This
don't
could
think Hal
easily
would.
be a single episode of Hal's life.
It could, but I feel like at some point Hal would hit the brakes and go to his wife, like crying, like, "Babe, I'm sorry. Please fix this."
This is true. It's an extended Hal bit. It's an extremely extended Hal bit. But to be
Mm,
fair, he was evil when Lois was not around.
that's true. He married the wrong woman. It's all the woman's fault.
So do
Okay,
I
so,
need to tell people what Breaking Bad is?
yeah. Just summarize the first season because that's kind of our cutoff. We decided, right?
Okay, yeah. So
I
Rose,
think that's good.
I
Yeah.
think I remember where that wrapped up. Okay, so there's a dad, and he's played by Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, and he's a really shy person, and his family life sucks. They established that his family life sucks like extensively in the first episode, which was super fun to watch. It definitely made for a really good pilot, and I definitely didn't want to stop watching after that pilot. But then he finds out he has cancer. He doesn't tell anyone. He discovers that meth dealers make a lot of money. He's a chemistry teacher. He blackmails one of his former students, Jesse Pinkman, into making meth with him. And then in an altercation, he basically ends up gassing two drug dealers to death by accident and on the run from the law. And that's the first episode. Oh, and then he has sex with his wife, which was the end of the episode for some reason because there's a little bit of like I feel like there's some good statements being some interesting and like thoughtful statements being made about toxic masculinity, but some of it is a bit shallow in my opinion. But so then man, the first season, what happens in the first season? Uh his brother-in-law is a DEA agent who's really racist, and his son is disabled, and his sister-in-law is a kleptomaniac, compulsive liar or something.
I forgot about that.
And he basically starts selling drugs and making drugs with Jesse Pinkman, who does not want to be there. He hates it, and every time they're on screen together, they're like really mean to each other. Um, everybody is really mean to everybody all the time in the show. Uh, but
Hank's actually pretty nice to Walt,
Hank
though.
is the only nice person. That's the thing. That's the issue. That's the reason why, unfortunately, Hank has become fave.
The racist DEA
The
agent.
racist DEA agent who is distinctly like racist against like Mexican people is somehow my favorite character even in current political climate. Like that's how hateful all of these other fuckers are. But
He's just bantering. Him and Gomi are bantering.
yeah, but he does it around other people too, and it clearly influences his like beliefs.
No, look, he's banting with the boys. It's okay.
He got a drug dealer's grill in a glass like cube as a gift, like loot. But anyway, Walt and Jesse end up mixed up in shit with this crazy drug dealer named Tuco, who beats the shit out of Jesse. Then Walt goes to his house and like blows half of it up and is like, "You will give me my money, and my name is Heisenberg." And then pretty much the season ends.
So apparently they in the early drafts the plan was to kill Jesse off.
Mm.
at
That
the
makes
end of the
sense.
first season, but they liked Aaron Paul so much, they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have kept watching. He's one
No.
of the only things that you sort of grab onto.
Yeah, I feel like Jesse's a nice guy. He's just very, very dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb and he's surrounded by very bad influences.
Mhm. All right. So what genre would you say this show is based on what you've seen?
It's like, I mean, drama is probably the correct wording. It's probably a drama with some comedy elements. I wouldn't quite go as far as to say it's a crime drama like Law and Order or something like that, because that's kind of a secondary element. Like even the
Mhm.
stuff with the cartels and everything so far is kind of like background. Um, it's a little bit more the tension with like his family and shit like that.
Yeah, I've seen it described as a neo-western. I don't know if that's just
Hmm.
because of the setting.
I feel like that's maybe a flavor thing in some parts, but I think that's reaching. It's I feel like it's kind of a drama. Like it's in the same. To me, it's in the same genre as say something like Mad Men.
It's
There's
kind
not
of
really enough like action or suspense quite to make that the main sticking point either.
Mhm. Who
Well,
is your oh, sorry.
although it certainly pulls you along, I will say that.
Who's your favorite character?
I mean, it's got to be either Jesse or Hank at this point, probably.
They're both very well played and interesting, I think.
Like like I don't have a problem with villain protagonists, but as
Mhm.
of like at least season 2, which we're not technically talking about, but as of at least season 2, like Walter is evil in a way that makes him unlikable.
Yeah, I was surprised the first time I watched it by like how little I liked Walter White.
Yeah, like how quickly he becomes a supervillain.
It and it's weird because the way people talk about it's like, ah, he's a magnificent um I mean Breaking Bad in the show title. Um
It implies a gradual descent.
and then also like the way fans talk about it, it sounds like he's like this epic manipulative mastermind. His one talent is he's really really intelligent when it comes to chemistry.
Yeah, I keep honestly whenever there's like deception elements or like manipulation, I keep looking at my wife and being like, he's bad at this. Like he's really bad at this.
He is.
He's not good at lying, so it's unfortunate that he's basing his whole life on it. Well, the
Um
remainder of his life, I guess.
yeah. Who do
Yeah, I
you
think if I had been writing this show, and it might not have been as good a show if I was writing it, like, from the ground up or whatever. But
Mhm.
if I had been writing the show, I probably would have made his choice to not accept the money from his friends. I probably would have made that like a bigger blow up later in the series, because I'm surprised by how early it becomes clear this is just about his pride.
Right. I think that was the moment I was like, yeah, this isn't he people talk about like it's a commentary on the awful healthcare system in America and like sure you can say that, but in his specific
It's
situation,
it's kind of not.
yeah.
like I mean, you could go a route with like something like I forget if you've watched Squid Game.
I
Um,
I know of
yeah,
it.
I mean that does a pretty for all its faults, that does a pretty good job of establishing like these people fucking need this money, man.
Mhm.
Um, but with Walter, not really. There's a lot of avenues open to him, and like even sans like the even sans the free gifts he's getting from like millionaires and various other rich people, like he's not doing bad. He lives in a nice house.
Well, it is kind of falling apart.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, they talk about like the windows aren't shutting right and all that.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, he owns a house. Like the implication I got in season 1 was like we can't afford this cuz like will have bad debt and stuff, like things that are a little bit more immaterial than we literally can't like do this, you know?
I gotcha.
Very, very, very of that era. Very, how
Mhm.
does Homer Simpson afford that house type energy. I'm getting. I mean, I
I
know how
noticed
Homer Simpson gets that house. He was bequeathed the house. Shut up, shut up, shut up. But
it. I know I need to stop talking about The Simpsons, but I did notice early Simpsons episodes, they kind of were grounded in this family is stretching to be able to afford things.
yeah,
But then by what, season 4, they're like, Homer can, and they said it in a commentary, they're like, Homer can take a week off work to go to space.
yeah.
But they still do. I think they still do episodes where they're stretching money thin, and it works for The Simpsons because a Simpsons episode really just needs to make sense within its own episode.
I mean, also, The Simpsons is set in a world that doesn't exist anymore. So, like, the whole thing is kind of fantasy to us at this point.
It is. And Breaking Bad, it was on that cusp because it came out in 2008, which obviously the market crash, or was it a crash?
Yeah,
Recession
yeah,
happened then. But when you think about the time it goes into making a TV show, work on it started before that. So they're
yeah.
going with early 2000s.
Yeah, no. There's a scene in season 2 where Skylar is like justifying getting a job or whatever, and she's like,
Mhm.
the economy, and I'm like, you got no idea.
Yeah. I guess I do remember people talking about I was in middle school, so but
Yeah, I'm older than you are.
yeah. People talked about the economy back then, but it was 2008 where it got like, yeah, we can't really go on trips anymore.
Yeah,
we we're getting the store brand. Um, we're on EBT now.
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think if it was written today that it would be even remotely the same show.
Right. I feel like it's strange because it wouldn't, but there also is like a timeless quality to it. I think.
Maybe I'm only on season 2.
Okay, I might just have my head in the later seasons, but really, talking about the themes of it, I feel like it's less about healthcare and about the drug world. I think that's the world it's set in. I think the themes are more like about masculinity.
Yeah, it's definitely dwelling on themes of masculinity, uh,
Mhm.
specifically of the toxic variety.
Right. You get some positive, but I guess that's not till later. But
There's not much that's positive so far. I mean,
right.
I feel like I can list on my finger like the number of positive scenes that we see, and primarily they're moments of humanity that Jesse has, and very little else.
This is I don't see this discussed a lot, and I might be wrong. This might not be the intention, but I feel like there's a juxtaposition between Walt Jr. and Jesse as Walter's sort of son figures.
I can see that. I think they're only beginning to lean into that
Mm.
with the scene where Walter was, trying to make breakfast for everybody and his family was, jerks about it, and then he ends up taking Jesse to breakfast.
Yeah. Um, Walter has, even though he's not gonna voice this out loud, he has a very I think traditional idea of what a man should be.
Yeah.
And he sees himself as not living up to that. And he also, he would never say it, but I think his son having a disability, he's kind of a little ashamed of it,
Yeah, he's resentful of it. That makes sense.
even though
Um
his son's by all accounts like basically a good kid. He's kind of a jerk sometimes, but
yeah, but look at his parents.
right.
Like
he's
he dishes out what he takes.
he's a good student who stays out of trouble, yet Walter seems to sort of treat him with like little kid gloves, and
Yeah.
with Jesse it's like this is the boy I'm raising to be a man.
I mean, that might show a little bit more in the later seasons
Okay.
because in as of season 2, Jesse appears 100% to be a means to an end and a tool that he is using and abusing.
Well, part of the abuse though is like he wants to have that control. over him, which I think is kind of how Walt processes the world.
I guess
I
that
don't
makes
know.
sense. I don't
I
know.
might.
I kind of was seeing it the opposite way, where he's like, I don't have to treat people in this world like people, you know?
Yeah, there's that too. He's like, I don't want to interact with them.
Yeah. I don't have to treat them like people. They are to get me my money so that I can accomplish my goal.
And it is strange though how proud he is as far as like making the product.
Yeah.
He's like, I want this to be the best thing possible, even though he doesn't respect his consumers at all.
Yeah,
He's
no, I mean
still,
it's self-contradictory logic, obviously. But
yeah,
he wants to be the big predator, you know.
right.
It is the toxic masculinity, the narcissism, perhaps.
As unlikable as Walt is, I kind of love talking about him as a character. He's not exactly love to hate, because I feel like that character type's more of like a Mr. Burns, you know,
Yeah, it's
or a Tuco even.
I compared him, and this is a stretch a little bit if you're not familiar, but I compared him more to the characters in Riverdale, where half of the amusement for me is watching the show and saying, Walt, why did you do that? Why did you make the worst possible choice right now?
Yeah.
It's just like the enjoyment of watching this man fuck up over and over again in the most unhinged ways. Whereas I expected him to be maybe more of like a chess master.
Yeah. I was expecting that too, because they in the first episode they go on about how like smart he is,
Yeah.
but that's just another thing where like intelligence isn't a linear.
Yeah, there's different kinds of
Hmm.
intelligence.
I think Jesse might, as dumb as Jesse is, he's better at thinking on his feet than Walt.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not much,
Um,
but
yeah, he was able to, like, so far he has been able to establish like a small drug cartel
Mhm.
whose only issues are Walter's interference.
I do have another question for you.
Yeah.
If you had, and I quick PSA, we do not advocate doing meth. Like, we advocate that less than pretty much any other drug. Like, not even once isn't a joke. I've heard stories firsthand.
Yeah.
But if you had to do meth, would you rather do Captain Cook's or Heisenberg's?
I want to try the blue stuff. It looks neat.
I made
I want to
I was
snort it off
watching,
a knife.
yeah, the chili powder in the meth was like oddly adorable.
Yeah.
No, it's like my trademark, bro. Like, oh, Jesse's like fairly functional for a meth head.
Yeah, well,
Weirdly,
that's what makes me wonder if he's even like a real like meth head. It almost seems like he's capable of abstaining when he wants to.
yeah. They later in the season you're watching, they get into like heroin, um, which they treat as like worse. Which I don't know what the levels are.
I always thought
Obviously,
heroin
don't.
was the worst one, but I'm not familiar.
Oh, it might be. Obviously, don't do either. You know, if you want to like smoke a J, that's probably fine. You want to do like acid or shrooms, you know, that's I don't know much about that, but I think it's like pretty definitive. Stay away from meth and heroin.
Yeah, I think that's the rule. I'm pretty
God,
sure
I'm
that's
so
the
lame.
rule. Or you will end up like somebody in Breaking Bad, which is nobody should be like anybody in Breaking Bad.
Least of all the sober characters.
Yeah.
That leads me. So is Skylar White like just the worst? Like a huge fucking bitch?
So no, I mean, I hated her in the first episode. In the first episode, they were definitely, and you know, I'm beginning to wonder if some of it was in fact like early adaptational weirdness.
Mhm.
Because she was the worst, and I hated her, and I was like, why would anybody be married to this woman in the first episode? But as it goes on, it's like her reactions so far are pretty justified. Like even the shit about like ignoring him, like she goes for 3 episodes so far, like just pretty much ghosting him the entire time. But like that's what he's been doing to her. I don't necessarily think like I don't think I advocate that sort of eye for an eye behavior, but it is like It is literally justified.
It's like the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, exactly. Like she knows that he is lying to her because he is very bad at lying.
No, I think Skylar White sucks and Heisenberg is based.
Do people think that?
Yeah, that's like that's a prevailing fan. Like Skylar White is counted among the like characters you hate more than the villain in a lot of memes.
See, okay, but see, I almost expected that going in, hearing the buzz around it, because like
Mm.
one of my least favorite fictional characters is the mom from Malcolm in the Middle. I think she's the worst. Um, but Skylar's behavior is mostly pretty justified. Like, yeah, she's a little bit simple-minded or small-minded, but that is not that big of a
Well,
issue compared to the other stuff that's going on.
she's a suburban mom. Of course, she's gonna be like in the 2000s. Of course, she's gonna be like, "What? My husband is doing the weed."
Mm-hmm.
The moment where she confronts Jesse was really funny.
Yeah. And we even have the counterpoint of her sister who's like even more like that.
A
She's
Karen.
like can't even like comprehend the idea of somebody doing weed like
Okay, so she actually surprised me in the scene where they all like sit down with Walt and are trying to get him to go through treatment. She's the one who says like it should be his choice,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, there's some depth there."
Well yeah, because she's a nurse. That makes sense.
Yeah, up until that point, I kind of thought, I was like, Skylar doesn't seem so bad, but her sister's such a Karen. But then at that scene, I'm like, oh no, she's trying to give him autonomy, which goes back to the themes of masculinity.
Yeah.
He feels
Um
like, and this is something I kind of sympathize with, as unlikable as he is, he wants to take control of himself
see
and other people, which is where it gets
yeah.
problematic.
See,
But
that's the thing though. I think I'm seeing this from a slightly different because like I see Walter as a really good depiction of a type of person you do meet sometimes
yeah,
who they'll be really shy, right?
mhm.
Introverted, but then when they stop being that, when they become more powerful, they get worse.
Me IRL.
Like the thing is he keeps talking about his autonomy and his freedom,
Mhm.
but he always fucking had that. He's a functional white 50-year-old man who owns a house and two cars, and he lets his wife talk over him sometimes. Ooh, you're so imprisoned, you little bitch. Listeners, I famously have low sympathy for some people whose only prison is their shyness. I will say, but like, come on, man, you married this woman on purpose. You apparently botched your whole like famous science business on purpose. Like, you have always been in control, you little piece of shit. I'm I am kind of I kind of side with his son who's like, dude, you're a pussy. Like, you what do you mean you don't want to get medical treatment?
Yeah, Walter White. I kind of agree with you about him. I do feel some empathy, but I'm also like, why didn't I guess he didn't stay with them because he got his wife pregnant. They really don't go much into the backstory.
I figured we would get more backstory. I guess maybe not because like
They-
apparently he just walked out on his previous girlfriend and like didn't talk to them for years or something.
I think it's kind of, well, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
But yeah, it's he. Regardless of what happened between them, he should have taken the money. If he were like a single guy, then I disagree, but I'd be like, okay, it's your life. But when you
Yeah.
have a wife and a son, it's like, no, you put your pride aside and do what's best for them.
And that's what sucks watching it because really the only person trying to keep him alive this whole time is Skylar. Even after like she knows she's being gaslit and stuff, her
Mhm.
main focus is still making sure they have money to get him treatment.
So it's been a while since I watched the pilot. What about her in the pilot didn't you like?
She was just a lot more like she was a lot more like almost the like parody irony level of like a Karen.
Yeah.
Like
I
she really didn't let him talk. She was always like multitasking over him. There's the famous scene where she's bidding on things online while giving him a hand job, you know.
I kind of saw her as like being obliviously insensitive.
Yeah, but obliviously really insensitive.
Yeah,
Like
like, but she
and
did.
they were everyone in that family was like passive aggressive to each other from the get-go.
Oh, see, I watched the pilot at the height of my autism, so I might have missed that.
No, I was like, this is not a happy family. This is not pleasant.
But yeah, I think part of the unpleasantness was like their house is falling apart and they have all these bills mounting up.
I don't remember the house falling apart, I'll be real.
Oh, okay, it's
Are you sure you're not inserting Malcolm in the Middle in there?
maybe I am. Malcolm in the Middle did a good job of consistently showing them as broke.
Yeah, it did.
Because like sometimes they would do wacky cartoony stuff, but it was like on a budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe Malcolm like stole something expensive and they somehow got away with it. But
Yeah.
we can discuss Lois at another time.
Yeah, I'm sure. She's probably a very debatable, controversial character.
Can you agree that the actress was good?
I mean, she was good at being like the person that is the worst.
I think Lois, if Hal got involved in the meth dealing, Lois might join him.
There's like a 70% like chance that she would
It,
end up being a drug lord.
he also wouldn't be as dismissive as Hal though, or he would. Okay, Hal no, Hal wouldn't. Wait, Hal would be dismissive for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, if there was any way Hal could include his wife, he would.
Yeah. Um, okay, so where is this series going from here? Do you just give me your prediction? I don't know how many spoilers you have, but
Um I don't really have a lot of spoilers. I kind of figure it's just going to keep escalating at this point where he becomes a more and more powerful and more malevolent drug dealer um, until it all comes crashing down.
how do you think it'll come crashing down?
Well, I do have spoilers about that actually.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have this bad problem where sometimes when a popular show comes to an end and everybody's talking about it, and I think I'm never ever gonna watch it, I like read like how it ended.
I feel like from the point you're at, the finale description probably doesn't make any sense.
I mean, maybe it's been a while since I read the
Hmm.
finale description. I just remember people talking about it when I was in college.
White supremacists get involved.
Oh, of course they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess I got what I deserve. Kept you
Any,
waiting there too long, my love.
but anyway, better than BoJack Horseman.
Well, you haven't finished it yet.
So far, it's better. Well, okay. BoJack Horseman season 2 was really good. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Who's the best Aaron Paul character?
Uh, Whoever the fuck he was in Invincible. That's not true.
Apparently, he's not going to voice the character again because it took a toll on his mental health.
That's really funny. I mean, he was a little extreme. He was a little over the top in
Yeah.
Invincible.
It was his role in Invincible. It was kind of like his voice is so recognizable at this point. I was like, it's Aaron Paul.
Yeah, I was too, and I
But
hadn't
I
even
don't
seen
want to
Breaking Bad at
bash
that
Aaron
point.
Paul because it's Aaron Paul.
Well, supposedly in what's it called? In Dispatch, the game that he's in,
Hmm.
supposedly he is pretty unrecognizable. So
Oh,
I guess he
nice.
does have some range. I guess there is one series maybe where he is not an abused little guy.
I think as much as the voice sounds the same, Todd and Jesse's vibes are completely different. I mean, they're like a similar starting point,
Yeah,
but I feel like Jesse's angrier and more
you don't feel like Todd is a possible route that Jesse's life could have taken because I kind of do.
I think if he didn't have as much of a temper, maybe.
Well, we see him getting a temper because every time he's on screen, Walter is coming in the room and saying, "You dipshit, shoot some people."
No, I mean, if Jesse didn't have a temper, he could be Todd.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I
Oh.
don't know if I agree that Jesse has a temper. I think he's provoked.
I also think Todd's like more talented than Jesse.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has a little bit more cartoon capacity to
That's
be great at writing musicals and stuff.
Todd is Jesse if he got to be in a wacky cartoon, but got to be the wacky cartoon character because most BoJack characters don't get that luxury.
Yeah, like exactly. I feel like if Jesse got to hang out with Mr. Peanut Butter, he also would be chill.
Yeah, he'd be a little more aloof, but he'd be like, "Yo, that's cool, man."
Remember when the drama in BoJack Horseman was that BoJack secretly sabotaged Todd's play? Remember when we were subtle with the dramatic themes instead of the whole thing being about suicide or whatever?
One day we'll do the BoJack Horseman review.
Oh my god, I'm gonna scream the entire time.
Everyone will hate us. It'll be awesome.
It'll be great.
I'm like the centrist who gets both sides, so they'll hate me the most. Who will survive and who will not?
Um, um, Skylar will survive. That's all I know.
When you texted me about the janitor who got fired, I was like, oh shit,
Yeah, poor
I
guy.
forgot about him.
Yeah, that was probably Hank's greatest sin so far.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you rank the first season of Breaking Bad?
We're doing 1 to 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been on Letterboxd a lot.
Should we change it to 1 to 5?
I feel like 1 to 10 is more range, honestly.
Okay.
I kind of like it better because there are things that are on the same scale on my Letterboxd that absolutely should not be. But
Oh yeah, me too. Because sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'll just be vibing so hard to it, I'll give it a 5. But then I'll
like,
watch
oh, I
another
guess
one.
I have to say it's perfect because this pretty mid movie is like a 4.
Right, exactly.
Um, 6, 7.
6, 7.
I'd say 6, 7. My big reaction to Breaking Bad so far is that it's like I'm not gonna say at this point that it was really good yet, but for some reason it is engaging enough to keep me watching. So maybe it is.
That's what I was surprised because I assigned you like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and you're watching it nightly now. So I'm like, okay, he thinks this is a good show.
Yeah, apparently it grabbed us.
Yeah, it's it's popular for a reason. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, most things that are popular for a reason.
Even bad things that are popular, it's like they know how to hook you. Although I do think there is more to Breaking Bad than that, but it has that too.
Yeah, it does make me feel a little bit normie to watch, but maybe not so much because it ended what like 7 years
Mhm.
ago or something.
Well, and there's niche fan communities that get weird about it. So I loved a few years ago when like all the Breaking Bad memes were like recontextualizing it to be a bunch of angry old men trying to fuck each other.
I mean, kind of.
Talking about themes of masculinity. Man,
Breaking,
wait until
Breaking Bad and Has Been season 2 kind of have that in common.
wait until you get to Gus Fring and Mike and man,
Yeah, half the characters I know about have not appeared yet.
right. Kid named Finger. You
It's
you
like when
won't
you
get
watch
it.
Supernatural and have to wait for Castiel.
Yeah, exactly.